Answering the question, what is the best knife steel, is notoriously difficult because it all depends on what you're doing. But if we had to boil it down to one, this would be it. And the best part is, you don't even have to spend an arm and a leg to get some of the best performance out there. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and depending on what you're using your knife for, different steels might be better than others. If you need something that cuts for a real long time as efficiently as possible without resharpening, you're gonna want a different steel than something that can really be thrashed and abused and take a really rough beating. So to boil it down to just one quote unquote best knife steel, maybe well-balanced performance is what we should look for, which is why MagnaCut would be our choice at this point in time, which is what you see on all the knives right here in front of me. For one thing, MagnaCut is stainless, which means you can use it in pretty much any weather conditions or environment. It also holds an edge respectably well. There are knives or steels that hold an edge longer for sure, but the performance of MagnaCut is very, very good. In addition to that, it's also very tough, which is something that most high edge retention stainless steels can only manage so-so, but MagnaCut does it really, really well. It kind of has broken all the rules of modern metallurgy. The advantage of that toughness is, blades can be made thinner while still being sturdy, and that's going to allow them to slice better. You can even support a thinner angle at the edge because of that toughness without worrying that it's going to chip or roll quite as much, which is a pretty cool thing. Now, the first production folder that hit the market with MagnaCut steel was the Spyderco Native 5, specifically the plain edge version. The serrated version is a little bit more than $150, but plain edge is still under $150. This is part of their Salt series, which takes advantage of the high stain resistant properties of that steel. Everything inside the handle is also designed to be pretty much stain proof. So you really can use this just about anywhere. And the Native 5 US made is just a great all around design. 3-inch blade, a shape that works pretty well for most things, full flat grind, full length for the handle thanks to the guarded finger choil right there, plenty of traction from the injection molded handles here, and ambidextrous controls all around, including that mid mounted lockback. This, like honestly, most of the knives on the table, are going to be great all-around users for most folks' everyday carry needs, with a few things that might lend itself more to some other uses, and we'll talk about that along the way. But all of these are just great everyday carry pocket knives. The Para 3 lightweight from Spyderco, also a great option, also in their Salt series, $148 and some change right now. That MagnaCut blade, 3 inches, a little bit thicker than the Native 5. Should make it a little bit sturdier, but you still have a full flat grind for great slicing. You've still got a full finger or a full 4-fingered grip on that knife and then some, thanks to that choil. And you've got Spyderco's compression lock here on the back. And there's a few specific advantages to that lock. One, it is very, very strong and stable. It also allows for finger safe closing action, which means your fingers never get in the travel path of the sharpened blade, which is a nice inherent bit of extra safety. Good EDC, being part of the paramilitary and military families, the Para 3 also lends itself well to a more compact tactical role too. The yellow might not be the greatest thing for maintaining a low profile, but that's the heritage of the Para 3 family nonetheless. These next two US-made models actually compete pretty well against each other, or pretty interestingly anyway. The first is the Hogue Deka. Awesome series of knives designed by Alan Elishewitz. Price on these start normally at about $140, but you can find them on sale periodically throughout the year. Even at that regular price, phenomenal, phenomenal knife. They're lightweight thanks to the injection molded handle scales, which you can get in a few different colors. About 2.1 ounces for this knife. 3¼ inch blade, stonewashed finish in MagnaCut right here. Sort of a reverse Tonto profile or a modified Wharncliffe with some compound grinds. It's especially cool looking with those compound grinds. And you can also get it with the clip point shape here, with or without a black coating, with different colored handle materials. And this is a knife that really takes advantage of the toughness that MagnaCut can bring to the table by giving us very thin blades, which help them slice really, really nicely. Other key features, you've got the ambidextrous crossbar lock that enables finger safe closing action. You've got a deep carry pocket clip that is reversible. Overall, just really, really nicely put together, and a really eye-catching design as well, without it being too over the top that it is not useful, you know? Next up, the Kershaw Bel Air series, insanely popular. A little bit more expensive than the base version of the Deka right there, about $150. But that extra 10 bucks gets you a little bit, tiny bit less blade length, but you get more premium handles here. We've got aluminum on the original modified Wharncliffe blade shape here, and it's kind of cool to see that next to the Deka right there. And then when you compare the new clip point blade shape to the clip point shape of the Deka, it's also, I think anyway, cool to see. Micarta handles available on that new clip point version. That's the first time they've brought Micarta to this series. You've got excellent finger safe closing action thanks to the crossbar lock there. Ball bearings in the pivot of these, washers in the pivot of the Deka. If you want something that can, withstand dust or grit a little bit more, maybe the Deka, it could be more your speed. But just like the Deka, these knives also give us insanely thin blades, and that toughness of MagnaCut really helps that stand up without this being too fragile of a geometry. Slices great as a result as well. Deep carry pocket clip, very deep carry in this case. If you want your knife to completely disappear, this is going to be a great option. And again, fully ambidextrous and reversible on all of the controls. Kershaw actually brings a lot to the table on the MagnaCut front. Let's talk about some of their Launch series knives. They make a bunch of very reasonably priced automatic knives, and a few of them do come in MagnaCut under this price range, including this Launch 20 right here and the Launch 15. Both of these are about 145 bucks. You've got a 3-inch blade on the 20, about a 3.5 on the Launch 15. So you get more for your money in a way with this one. Nice spear point blade profile, still good slicing geometry, not as thin as the Bel Air. Aluminum handles with Micarta inlays, nice action overall, deep carry pocket clip. Really nice design that kind of modernizes and echoes like classic Italian stilettos while being, feeling a little more sleek and streamlined. The Launch 20 could definitely be like a gentleman's automatic knife. 3-inch blade, modified Wharncliffe shape, carbon fiber inlays on the aluminum on each side, a marbled carbon fiber, and that explains the cost difference a little bit, or the size difference at the same cost between these two knives. Good snappy action on that blade as well. If you don't want to go full auto, a bunch of great assisted opening USA made knives in Kershaw's lineup. Actually, everything so far up through all these Kershaws is made in America. You've got the classic Leek for one. You can get it in this red or blue gradient handles, each with black or stone washed blades. 3-inch design, modified Wharncliffe shape, just a classic everyday carry, classy knife. It's slim, so it carries nicely. The action is snappy every time thanks to Ken Onion's Speed Safe system, which underpins this knife. Prices on these are about $120. Aluminum handles with liner locks on those. We've also got the Dividend, which is sort of a modernized version of the Leek, you could say. Similar size, just a tiny bit bigger. Very thin blade stock, nice and slim in the pocket as well. Again, a very deep carry pocket clip, assisted opening action as well. About $135 for this one. We've also got the Link, which is sort of a bigger, beefier version of the Dividend in a way. It's no longer, but it is a little bit chunkier, so a little bit maybe harder working. It definitely fills the hand more with the chunkier aluminum handles there. Slightly thicker blade steel on the MagnaCut there. Interestingly, less expensive right now, about $129 compared to the Dividend. But if you really want a harder working folder, we also have the classic Blur available for about 130 bucks. We've got a 3.4-inch recurved MagnaCut blade here. That recurve adds a little bit of extra edge to that length and also gives you a little bit more pulling power or cutting power on the pull stroke. All black variant right here, or a blue handle with black inserts and stone washed blade. Angled thumb studs, classic Blur feature, makes them extra easy to engage. Assisted opening action, as you could see, and just a very reassuring feel in the hand for heavier work. Let's take a look at some of the Italian competition here. We've got the Alfa lock back here from Viper. This runs about 150 bucks. Some versions are higher than that 150 cutoff that we're looking at today, but this and a few others fall underneath. We've got red G10 mid-mounted lock back, wire pocket clip, which is quite nice. Unguarded finger choil here, built for maybe smaller fingers in general, or at least smaller fingers than mine. 3-inch modified Wharncliffe blade. Some might call it a reverse tanto. Won't fight you too much on that one anyway. A little bit chunkier on this one compared to some of the stuff we've looked at, although not quite as chunky as the Spydercos at the beginning. But compact yet powerful feeling is how I would describe the Alfa. The geometry there gives a little extra sense of reassurance, but it's still gonna slice pretty nicely. And overall, it's just a tidy package that has some pretty interesting lines, I would say. We've also got the Yipper, designed by Ben Peterson from MKM. These come in just under 140 bucks. You've got that reverse tanto modified Wharncliffe shape, a little bit under 3 inches long, about 2.8 and some change. Really nice kind of box cutter replacement if you want something with that type of cutting geometry, that type of cutting feel and the way you interact with the blade, but you want something with an edge that's gonna last and something that you could take more places and not feel out of place like a box cutter blade would. You can get this in some more colorful handles without the black blade, or of course this version, and there are some more premium versions as well. Extra deep carry pocket clip, ambidextrous crossbar lock means even me as a non-left-hander has no problem using it in the left hand. Just a nice, sleek, small package if you want this type of blade. We've also got, from MKM, the Malga series. Some of these knives come with MagnaCut main blades, not MagnaCut secondary blades in this case, but this is the Malga 5, a Swiss Army knife competitor. Comes with that main blade in MagnaCut. You've got a pair of scissors, additionally a wood saw, and on the back we've got a 3D Phillips driver, all for just under $150. You can check out all of the Malga series. As I said, some of them will come in more or less. There's also some M390 versions if you want a little bit more edge retention at the cost of some of the toughness that MagnaCut brings to the table. But I definitely like what MagnaCut does to this classic style of blade because it's always been thin to maintain that great slicing geometry and that extra toughness there. It ain't a bad thing. So we do have a couple of fixed blades. Surprisingly fewer fixed blades in this price range are using this material at this point, but two notable ones for sure. The Barlow BFF Packlite from Boker, designed by Lucas Burnley, is about $119 with this 2.5-inch Barlow style blade and a skeletonized handle. It's definitely on the thin side, but it still feels decently manageable. It's not digging in too much, but if you do want some extra length, a paracord wrap would certainly do the trick. And it comes with a nice Kydex sheath here. Overall, this could be a great neck knife, especially for folks who like to go ultralight hiking. You get a lot of performance and sturdiness out of that tiny blade here that really punches above its small size. Price on this, $119, if I didn't mention that already. We've also got what has quickly risen to the top of my list as easiest to recommend high performance fixed blades for camping for just about anyone who asks. The Gerber StrongArm Camp, coming in $149.99 at the point we're filming this video. Blade length here is just about perfect to make it a fairly universal recommendation. I definitely am a fan of like bigger, choppier, more menacing, chunky blades, but the 4-inch or sub 4-inch blade length here is gonna work for all kinds of body types, statures, and it's a size that's small enough to always be on you. You're never gonna feel like you're carrying too much on your belt, which means you're always gonna have it with you, which means it's gonna be there when you need it. Thinner blade stock, thanks to that MagnaCut being so tough, gives us that great edge geometry. Gonna work great for camping, hunting, hiking, any outdoor manner of excursion you could think of. I'd have a hard time saying this wouldn't be a good choice. Rubberized handle here for extra grip and protection in the cold, of course. Protruding tang there at the back. Comes with a pretty full-featured sheath right here that can be set up for a standard up and down belt carry, or can be set up to be carried horizontal on the belt as well. So plenty of carry options at this price point for a US made fixed blade is pretty impressive. All right, let's say that $150 price range, or the stuff close to that, is still a little too much, but you can swing something just under 100. I got a few great options here. The Rat 1.5 from Ontario. It sits in between the classic full-size Rat 1 and the Rat 2, which has long been an EDC favorite. Blade size here is 3¼ inches, so really it's still a great compact enough everyday carry size while giving you just more than the Rat 2 can offer, quite honestly. 95 bucks for this knife. Nice thin blade geometry, very slicey, very adaptable blade, and a full-sized grip in the hand as well. You don't lose that full-size grip, even though this is not the full-sized Rat 1, which is pretty cool. G10 for the handles, liner lock for security, still comes with washers in the pivot, not nylon washers like the more inexpensive models, but still something that's going to withstand rougher conditions quite nicely. Can't recommend this knife enough. And the other bargains on the table are from Bestech. These first two are actually at about 120 bucks, but the rest are sub 100. We got to talk about the Swordfish. These particular button lock Swordfishes are KnifeCenter exclusives, 3¾ inch MagnaCut blades, gives you a little bit of extra reach. And even though it's got a slightly chunkier handle, so you feel like you can use this a little more heavily, this is what we like to call a big easy knife. It folds up very compact and narrow, so it's going to be very easy to incorporate into your pocket. It's not going to take up too much width that crowds out the other things you might want to carry. Great flipping action, finger safe closing action for lefties or righties, thanks to the button lock there. Pocket clip is not reversible though, so that's more right hand biased. But great action overall, excellent fit and finish, available in both of these options with the satin appointments or the black coated appointments for the same price of about 120 bucks. Next up, the Dundee series. These range from about 90 to 100 bucks. Some of them are a little more. In fact, again, shame on me. This Ultim version is about 105, I want to say, about 108. But most of them are less. 3.35 inch blades on these. You can get the clip point or this modified sheep's foot right here. Both are quite excellent. Just pick what you want to do with your blade and with your knife, and that'll help guide you towards which blade shape you should choose. I'd say the clip point is probably more generically useful across a broader range of tasks, but the sheep's foot is going to be better for heavier push cutting or more detailed tip work. Definitely excels in those two areas over the versatility that the clip point might provide. Ostap Hell is the designer, if I hadn't mentioned that already. We've got an inset liner lock here, great ball bearing flipping action, reversible deep carry, well, not quite deep carry, but reversible fold over pocket clip. Great prices on these for sure. And last but definitely not least, one more KnifeCenter exclusive at 95 bucks. Another Ostap Hell design. This is the Tardis. This version with the white and black G10 is the exclusive here. MagnaCut blade, 3.15 inches. And yeah, this is a little more of a style piece for sure, but it has some of the same benefits as the sheep's foot blade we just looked at. Heavier push cutting, maybe a little less acute at the tip, but this thing is designed to kind of look awesome in addition to just cutting pretty well also. The clip is quite deep carry. It is not reversible, however. Inset liner lock, ball bearings in the pivot. You got thumb studs that open the blade nicely. You've also got this nice long fuller that lets you do stuff like that reverse flick really well. Take your pick of the Bestechs. They're all excellent. I mean, everything on this table here is pretty excellent. And it just goes to show you can get performance that can really do just about anything at not a whole lot of money. Yes, there are steels that hold an edge more. Yes, there are tougher steels. There are tougher stainless steels, but they're not going to hold an edge like the MagnaCut will here. Great choice. Let me know what you thought of the comments. Let me know your favorite MagnaCut knives or your favorite MagnaCut knives under 150 or your pick for the best steel out there. Drop them in the comments. And if you want to get your hands on any of these blades, check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com. And don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program while you're there, because you might as well earn some free money to spend on your future knives. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center, signing off. See you next time.